Danny Loves Chachi won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X-Files.
Welcome to the Gen X-Files. I'm Jim.
Are you sure? Because that sounded very spooky.
Yes, it's Halloween time.
I'm Adam.
And today's another episode about...
The Stepdads.
Yeah,
I'm
talking
doing the
about, yeah.
adult show.
I love how you call it the
adult show. I don't know, man. You went on and on about how the show's family friendly. So this is not the family friendly show.
I think I was wrong about that. I don't know.
That's fine. It's for everybody. But
Sure.
This is a little more personal. We're going to talk about our own histories and things that happened to us. Spooky things that happened to us growing up. And Halloweens and stuff. Just... all that fun stuff you did when you were a kid.
Yeah, man. Halloween as a kid is the best because let's be honest. Candy for kids is booze and drugs, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Because just like booze and drugs, some kids go overboard. There's always that chubby kid with chocolate fingers and has that permanent chocolate thing around his mouth.
You're literally talking about me.
And he's just like grubby and he's eating them Snickers bars.
Oh, that was the worst.
The Augustus Gloops.
The worst Halloween I had was the Halloween where I couldn't go trick-or-treating because I had chicken pox.
Oh,
it
pox.
was awful.
There was a pox on your house.
I remember being in my costume and looking at my mom and her going, sorry.
Oh, what was the costume?
Man, I think I was a vampire or something.
Yeah, everybody was a vampire.
Something like
point,
that.
yeah.
I don't remember. Or hobo.
Yeah.
I always went to hobo.
Everybody did because it was cheap. Parents,
Yeah. Credit to my brother, though. He got extra candy. He used that. He took advantage of it and was like, my brother has chicken pox.
Did he keep it or did he
No,
share?
he gave some to me.
That's good,
God
brother.
knows he probably kept a tax.
Well, yeah, he's big brother.
But
tax.
he did the work. He did the work. So,
Nice.
respect.
But still, that's like it's not necessarily the candy. I mean, yes, of course, it's the candy.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also, you spend all that time on the costume and you want to go out with your buddies and hit the houses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also, I remember when you started trick-or-treating without your folks. Like you didn't have a parent that was taking you around. And that was like the first year where it was just you and your buddies. But it was also dangerous.
It was very dangerous.
It was dangerous because we had candy nappers.
Oh, really?
We had, there was fully sanctioned bullying in the 70s, man.
Yeah.
With the middle schoolers going to high school and the paddles and getting the crap kicked out of them. And, it just seemed like parents and teachers and grown-ups just said, hey, it's just a rite of passage, baby. You got to take your lumps.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Bruises heal. Scars are cool.
Yeah.
Emotional scars. I didn't think about the pain. But it was different, man. I mean, people could get away with crap. Because it was just, kids being kids. So we couldn't use traditional sacks or...
Like the pumpkins.
Yeah, or pumpkins. We couldn't use traditional
the orange pumpkins,
vessels for our candy when we would trick-or-treat. Trick-or-treating vessels.
Cauldrons, yeah.
Yes. Because they were easy pickings.
Yeah.
Snatch them right out of your hands, baby. Those bags ripped. Those things broke.
Yeah.
They push you down. They pick up the candy.
That plastic was not strong. The connector thing to the tub was not good.
It was
so easy just to yank on.
I think it was designed by a bully with a special release.
I think it was designed by somebody, so you had to buy more of them every year.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so we would have to use pillowcases.
Nice.
Because pillowcases were damn durable. Plus, they held a lot more candy.
Hell yeah, they did.
And so I remember you'd see, because this is the thing. You had your parents with you, or a parent.
Yeah.
Or a guardian.
Guardian, yeah.
Then they'd back off. Of course, kids aren't stupid. They're not going to bully in front of parents. They were still polite. They still had manners for adults. But man, when you started doing your own trickety-treat, that's when you had to be on the lookout. You had to have eyes in the back of your head, Adam.
Did you go with any other kids?
Yeah, of course, man. I wasn't a lone treater.
Okay, well,
lone treaters, man.
I mean, because that helps.
Looking for trouble.
I mean, it helps, but like.
Plus, man, the lone treaters were weirdos. So lone treaters always dressed.
True.
Just had that like dumb ET costume of dark circles under their eyes and a hoodie.
It's like, what are you?
And a backpack, and I'm a hunchback.
I've got a knife in my head.
I'm a ghoul. Watch out for them lone treaters. The
They're
bad news
weirdos.
bears. But so I remember, I think it was our first trick-or-treating by ourselves, me
Yeah,
and my bud.
yeah.
It was just, I think, 2 buddies. And, man, we had a haul. And that's the thing. The good bullies wouldn't just grab it right at the beginning. They kind of,
no,
they clock you throughout the night. They'd be like, oh, okay, they're going to this house and that house, and they got big candy bars there. And so,
Yeah.
they had like little notepads, and they had their astronaut pens so they could write upside down as they were watching us. So, end of the night, we had one of the first houses, the first house we lived in Escondido had this really steep driveway and a little orchard to the left of it. So we would always just cut up the orchard
Sure.
to get to the house.
Quickest route. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus we were like, well, if we cut up the orchard, then the bulls won't see us.
Yeah, you can hide a little bit. Yeah.
We can hide. Oof, bad news bears, because the trees also camouflage the bullies. So they were onto us, man. They were smart.
Yeah.
So they pop out from under the trees, man. One of them grabs my buddy's sack. He's gone like Roadrunner. And the other bully, I look him right in the eyes, and he looks me in the eyes, and he grabs my bag, and he pulls. And I'll be goddamned if I'm going to let go of that bag. So I held on. And he dragged me. This is not a joke or an exaggeration. He dragged me at least 100 to 120 feet.
Jeez.
The whole length.
Wow.
The whole
Through the
length
orchard?
of the orchard.
Wow.
To the point where we had, for some bizarre reason, we had some cacti in the orchard with huge friggin' needles on them.
Yeah.
Just
because. Yeah.
Hey, a kid's gonna get hurt, so why not put a few? It's
it
like a
as
video
bad as
game, man. It's like
possible. Yeah.
let's put some more obstacles in the way. So into the cactus. One of the pieces of cactus is stuck in my leg, but I didn't let go. And finally, he just was like, "You win," and just took off.
Wow.
And I'm dirty, sweating, tears, adrenaline tears are coming down my face, and my legs bleeding. But damn it, I held on to my candy, and I gave my buddy some candy too.
Oh, that's good.
Not
he
half,
got
because
stolen.
he's
But
you
of
know,
course
because
not.
he didn't
He
deal with
shouldn't
what
have, shouldn't let it get away.
And I paid with blood, sweat, and tears, baby. But that's how it was back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was kind of cool in a way that the older kids kind of bully. I don't know how to explain
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
there was kind of a weird. Ooh,
Yeah.
You know how it's like a horror movie or
Yeah,
something, but
yeah.
a safe one. The bullies aren't
Right.
going to kill you or stab you. It's not a
No,
Stephen King
no.
story. They're not going to carve their name into your belly. At least where I grew up, they'll smack you around or
Yeah.
they'll steal your candy or something. But
We didn't have the older kids in my neighborhood, and there weren't very many kids my age, but the older kids, they didn't steal the candy. They discovered fireworks very quickly, and oh my God, every Halloween, the thick blanket of smoke hanging in the street, and they would, if they saw you, they would shoot fireworks at you.
Oh, yeah.
but that
right
wasn't
at your face.
They didn't
because
care about the candy.
Yeah, exactly. Kids lost eyes, fingers.
It was it was crazy. We had to have cops go up and down our block because they got so bad
Well,
every
sure.
year.
It's like some places they have mischief night.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Devil's
yeah.
night.
Detroit is big.
Yeah, and then that's the night before Halloween,
Yeah,
isn't it? Devil's
yeah.
night. And it's just an excuse for people to
just
it's like
go
the purge,
nuts.
baby.
Yeah.
It's vandalism and
It really is.
breaking stuff and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's but Halloween, I don't know how it is. I always say this because I don't have kids. I don't have any sort of baseline for what it is like today. I should really talk to some of my friends with kids. I don't know why I
But
don't.
why?
We need to have a parenting expert come on and help us with these things. since
Explain
we're
to how wrong we are
Yes.
on everything.
But for us, it was a night of hanging with your buddies,
Yeah.
getting a ton of
Yeah.
candy, and then the best part of Halloween is if it was on a weekend night, your buddy spends the night,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you got candy trades.
Yeah.
Or a couple of your friends come over and you got candy
The
trades.
candy market opens.
Oh yeah, everybody. I just remember it's like a bank, man. You separate your candy bars and you separate your good and plenties, and then you put your gross candy corns, and some idiot gives you raisins, so you just throw those in the
Yeah,
trash.
yeah,
Or there's
yeah.
always some weird kids like, I'll take the raisins, and you're just like, all right, get your fingers out of your nose, weirdo. Here's your raisins. But yeah, the candy trades,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Because everybody, and the beautiful thing about the candy trades is everybody's got their favorite kind of candy. So if I love $100,000 bars,
Yeah.
and you're a Mounds man,
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I
yeah.
hate mounds.
Right.
Well, I'll
It's
give you my
easy to
mounds,
trade.
I get them
Yeah.
100 grands, baby.
Heck yes.
And I mean, I had I loved candy so much as a kid. I had a little safe, like one of those bank safes,
Oh,
with the,
nice.
at the combination, and that's where I put my candy, and because it was precious gold, baby. Because candy was different. At least I wasn't allowed to just eat all the candy.
Yeah. No.
In the world, I also wasn't deprived. Like
No.
my friend Larry,
Larry, good old Larry.
good old
Yeah.
laser tag Larry, which is the weirdest name for him because we played that once. But Larry, his family was very healthy.
Oh, yeah,
very healthy.
yeah.
All carob.
Oh,
all good.
no.
I hated spending the night at his place because I'd be like, "What are you having for dinner?" And if they were having burritos, then I'd be like, "I can stomach that because it was just beans and whatever." But mostly it was like some gross, healthy fish dish or something. So he loved.
Oh, of
coming to my
course
house
he did.
because we had
Of
like
course he
those
did.
old mother's cookies, the oatmeal with the chocolate on top.
Oh,
and a little
nice,
drizzle.
nice.
So he would just chop. He would eat so many. He would eat enough cookies to make himself sick. Because this is the problem. You get deprived of something, it becomes a no-no.
Right.
So then you want it. I've always explained the cookie paradox,
Yeah.
which is the more you make something unattainable, the
Yeah.
more somebody wants it. Even if you don't want a cookie, now you want a cookie because
Yeah.
you're telling me I can't have a cookie.
Right. Exactly.
We're just a bunch of stubborn babies.
Everything in moderation, man.
Whew. Okay, that's a tangent.
Deprive yourself a little bit, and it's bad. You gotta give yourself a little bit.
But candy, baby.
Candy, yeah.
And that was the candy time.
Yeah.
We had some good candies.
Yeah,
We had
yeah.
Abba Zabbas.
Oh yeah.
Remember Abba
The old
Zabbas?
Abba Zabbas. Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Abba Zabbas. They were
Abba
okay.
Zabba
They were
had a
too
special
chewy,
little treat,
like-
though. It was
it a chewy
toffee with peanut butter in the middle, but the peanut butter was real soft.
Oh, that's right.
It was
yeah.
a toffee peanut butter.
It was just weird. I don't know. Something about the texture of it was just weird. But I mean,
It was also like,
I ate it anyway.
it was like chewing on,
Yeah.
like spackle or something. It wasn't the easiest thing to eat. But we challenged ourselves with candies, man. They would cut our mouths. Lollipops.
Yeah.
Our
yeah.
lollipops weren't shaved down and smooth. You put it in your mouth, it cut your mouth up.
Yeah,
It's like putting a cherry razor blade in your mouth. Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of razor blades.
Yeah.
Okay, so one Halloween, the old man, for whatever reason, I was really young, but the old man, the stepdad, was taking me
Weird.
trick-or-treating, which he didn't usually do, but we were having a good time. But he was starting to get impatient because he didn't want to be out too much, and we're not walking, and So we're all through the neighborhood, and so the old man, he's getting a little weary, but there was this one road, kind of a dirt road that went down to a few houses, and I was like, "Come on, we need more candy." Fine. So one more house, So I go running down. He's trudging after me, and we get to this house, and the people in it are packing up, fast. And I'm like, "Trick or treats!" And I'm like, "Hey, hold on a minute." So the person was gone for about, to me, it felt like forever, but it was probably
Right.
3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, plop something in my bag, and they're like, "Hey, happy Halloween." And gives me this weird look, right? We head back to the house, and I start going through the candy, and they had thrown an apple, and I swear to God, they had thrown an apple in my bag, and in that apple was a razor blade.
Wow.
Here's the thing about a razor blade in an apple. It ain't stealthy, man.
It's really obvious.
You gotta hammer that, unless you grow an apple, Johnny Appleseed,
Around a razor
around.
blade?
Yeah, you spend all this time crafting an apple around a razor blade.
I don't know can you do that?
Yeah, so the old man is incensed.
Oh, I can imagine.
And, because,
Somebody's trying to kill my kid.
well, he's like, I'm the only one that gets, no, I'm just totally kidding. But so, no, he was pissed, right? And,
Sure.
and I was kind of freaked out. And so we go back there. He brings me with him, right? Which was
course.
awesome. Because the old man, the beauty about the old man, he would take me on these things. Like, he did not care about child safety
Yeah,
when it came to adventures of revenge or whatever it
Yeah,
is. You
yeah.
know, It was, one time somebody threw an egg at the truck. Did a J-turn,
yeah,
baby,
yeah.
in a Ford F-150. Jumps out. Come on. We were chasing, I was like, I was 7, a partner, whatever. So we go down there, and this is this is probably 90 minutes maybe since we had been there. Probably less. And we get there, man, and everybody's gone. Everything's gone. Everything is gone. Gone, baby.
Maybe they weren't real people, Jim.
No, but it was real. So I'm just so if anybody is like, that's an urban legend, it's not. Yeah. Because now you know a person that it happened to.
Right.
And also, it's really not a dangerous thing, you know, because there's no way to conceal, because nobody's eating a nasty old ripped up apple.
If you can take a bite of an apple and get an entire razor blade in your mouth, you got bigger problems than eating a razor bladed apple.
But I just wanted to point that out because, you know, a lot of people think that's an urby leggy, but it's but it did happen.
Yeah.
And it did happen, but at least in my case, nothing untoward happened because I'm not a complete moron, I guess. You know, just half a moron.
I never had to deal with any of that stuff, but I did, I think I was like 7 or 8, and I had gone up to this house up the street, and the street was really long, and like, we lived in the middle of it, and I rarely went up to that side of the street. Like, it was, I mean, eventually I did because I went to middle school up beyond that.
Was it the wrong side of the tracks?
No, I mean, it's just a big street, and so like we'd usually hang out in our area and whatever.
In your turf?
Yeah, and also this was up the top where there was like weird people lived up there, like the guy who tried to burn his house down because his daughter or son was marrying the neighbor's daughter or son. I don't know. I don't remember the details, but he was upset about it, so he burned his house down and tried to burn their house down.
Well, naturally.
It was weird, you know.
But on Lynchian Drive.
But I go up, and it's this tiny little house, and knock on the door. You know, my mom's with me, and lady answers. I don't even think she was wearing a costume. And I was like, oh, okay. I take 2 steps away, and out from behind the side of the house. And granted, the dude was tall, but he was dressed like Frankenstein, and he comes lumbering out, and I just lost my shit.
How old were you?
I was like 7 or 8, I think.
17, 18?
Yeah. I was 35. But I took, like, I started doing the cartoon, like, steps backwards. Yeah. And then I turned and ran straight headfirst into the guy's van.
Oh, did you dent it?
I knocked myself out. Like, I literally was unconscious for about 30 seconds. And then I woke up, and the dude felt so bad.
Oh, yeah, of course. He almost killed a child.
But of course, he was hovering over me, still wearing the costume.
Of course.
And like, I probably pooped myself. Well,
because he was also doing the voice. He's like,
It was so, he gave me so much candy. Like, he felt so bad, but I just felt like an idiot.
And you were a story in that family.
Yeah.
For every
Remember that time you scared the crap out of that kid?
You almost killed that kid when you were Frankenstein.
Oh, it was fun, though. I didn't go back up to the top of the street very often after that.
Well, yeah, there's a Frankenstein living there.
What was your favorite costume when you were growing up?
You know, I was thinking about this. I don't remember a lot of my costumes.
I don't either.
I remember, like you said, I remember vampires and pirates and a lot of hobos because it was just, you burned a little bit of chalk and, not easy. Chalk, you burned a cork and there's always corks in our house and wine and stuff. Burn a little bit of cork and rub it on your face and look like a hobo.
It was
Make
easy
that hobo beard.
Together. Yeah,
you got a bindle. Just need a stick and a kerchief. But my favorite, and it was also, it was my favorite and my most disappointing. Because I love the Incredible Hulk, and I was going as the Hulk.
Nice.
And I got a wig. I dyed it green.
Nice.
I ripped up a shirt.
Yeah.
Cut off a pair of jeans down at the knees,
Yeah.
And I painted my whole body green, and my head, my face green, and I looked rad. And my mom, well, she was like, I think it's a little too cold for you to be going out there with no shirt on. I don't know why I made my mom sound like Lindsey Graham. She doesn't. My mom is a very articulate, wonderful woman.
Yes, she doesn't at all.
Nothing at all. So I apologize. But she's like, it's too cold. You can't go out there with no shirt. You're going to catch a cold. So she, to her credit, she was never a person that was like, you can't do this, deal with it. She would always come up with a solution, right?
Okay.
So she got a green sweatshirt, and she balled up all these socks to make these big muscles and these big booby muscles and stuff.
Yeah.
But still, I was
They usually call them pecs.
I was so stubborn. Our family is a very stubborn family.
Yeah.
In our own special way. And I was so mad because I didn't get to go topless.
Right.
Which is so weird because, like, now you couldn't pay me to take my shirt off. But back then, so anyway, there's a picture of me with the little costume on. It's cute. And she made me wear, like, tights. Green tights underneath my pants.
Okay.
You know, so
yeah.
it was like.
So it wasn't, yeah.
And she made me wear shoes. So I was like, this is so not the Hulk. I should be barefoot. I should be shirtless. I should be, but she was smart enough to not put me out shirtless and shoeless in 40, 50 degree. It's California, but it's, in the fall back before
it could still get
we
chilly.
had a lot of global warming. It got cold in the fall. It would get down to 40s and 50s. So there's a picture of me, and I just... Man, I look like the Hulk because I'm pissed about but it was my favorite costume, and the one costume that I remember the most because I was obsessed with the Hulk. But it was also the most disappointing because,
it wasn't exactly what you wanted.
But whatever. It looked better. My mom was right. She was always right about that stuff.
You didn't catch pneumonia?
No, I didn't get sick. I got a ton of candy, and then by the end of it, I was fine with it. But it was just that, the disappointment of like, it's not. It's not canon, Mom. This is not a canon costume. He did not wear a sweatshirt or tights or tennis shoes. But I did put the tights over the tennis shoes.
I like that in your little mind, you thought that somehow you would be able to create canon costume better than your mother.
I was a purist, baby. I was a purist.
I get it.
What about you? What was your favorite costume?
I don't really have. I like to wear. I don't have anything specific, but I really like to wear masks. Like that was a big thing, and I think a lot of it's just because I really wanted to hide from people all the time. That's why I read and was a loner. But I don't remember. It looked like a. It was like a vampire mask. It looked like Morbius. They're actually doing a movie of it pretty soon. But he was from. I was into comics, and he was. It wasn't technically a Morbius the vampire thing, but I kind of made it that, and that was always my favorite to wear because I could be anybody. It was like, who knows underneath this mask,
I went as a pregnant nun in high school.
Oh my god! Oh, in high school, okay. I thought you were 5.
I was 6. That was my choice. Oh my god. Oh, that was
pregnant nun. That's good. Yeah, I had some. I barely remember. I never really put a lot of effort into it. Like I was like, got to the point where. I think it was probably because my brother got out of it because he's 2.5, 3 years older than me. So I had to be cool like him and like, I don't care. So at a very young age, I was just kind of like, whatever.
Oh, your brother stole your childhood.
No, it was me. I'll blame myself. But it was not,
No, I feel the same. I mean, my sister was older. So I told you, like, one of my favorite Halloweens was when I conned her into watching that movie marathon with me. Because it's like, I didn't get, just because we were so different in ages until we were older, I was kind of a pest, and I get it. She was a cool kid. I was just kind of a pest. But so it was always cool to me when she would hang out with me because she was so cool. I felt cooler.
Yeah.
So I always remember. She doesn't remember it. I was talking to her the other day. She's like, "What? We did what?"
That was just another day for me. I don't know.
No, she did. She did. I'm just joking. But it was a really fun time. And
but you watched horror movies to help you get over being scared of horror movies.
Well, no, it wasn't. I wasn't scared necessarily of horror. When I was very young, my dad died. Which made me angry and then scared. And I was very scared of, sort of hyper aware of certain things. Like my sister, again being older, she had a sleepover. I don't know, it was 3 or 4. I distinctly remember this memory.
Yeah.
And they were going to play Bloody Mary.
Oh God.
So I had my mom come in and turn over every even possible reflective surface.
Oh wow.
In my clocks.
Wow.
Glossy books, anything. I'd be like, I can see something in that. And she'd be like, okay, easy, psycho. But, she understood. And, it was like stuff like that. I was just very, I saw things. I had nightmares just because, it's trauma and it's.
And you have an active imagination.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm like trying to defend myself of being scared as a child. Well, I was still tough. It's just like, easy, buddy. It's okay to be scared. So I think watching horror movies, initially, I started with creature features and, that kind of scared. But I just started really enjoying being scared by things that I knew weren't real.
It's
or couldn't get me.
Controlled scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you get older. I don't know if you did this, but it's like you get older and then you have this kind of collective thing. Like we had this collective thing with my friends that we all believed Bigfoot was real.
Right.
A, of course he was. And B, he lived in that vacant lot at the end of the road.
Of course he did.
And we would go on expeditions. Sometimes we'd have the ladies, you stay here, ladies. Us men are going to go on an expedition for Bigfoot. We would dig Bigfoot traps.
Oh, wow.
To the point, and so this is just a collective imagination gone amok. Because then we started a cult, and we started sacrificing children. No, but, the same kind of thing. It's just, that was fun.
Yeah.
But, when you're a little kid and you're seeing things that aren't real or whatever, it's not fun. And if you're alone, it's not fun, So I started finding the fun of being scared.
Right.
And, a movie that could really scare me really was, like, the one I remember the most, I think, was probably Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that really got me.
Yeah.
Because it was... in your dreams.
Right.
There were no rules for Freddy. Freddy could just pop up or run or grow long arms. All the tropes.
You couldn't get away, yeah.
Yeah, all the dumb tropes of running and then tripping and then big lumbering bloopity bloop comes with his big old stabber. Cheep, 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 And if you were, I don't know, not clumsy, you probably would have survived. But not with Freddy, baby. He gets in your dreams. And so just, it was horrifying. And that was also... around the time of the whole haunted house thing that I talked about during the Ghostbusters show.
Sure.
So it was just, I went from dreading scary things and dreading seeing Bloody Mary, dreading, because I thought that stuff could kill you.
Yeah. Of course,
I
you
thought,
believe it real. I mean, of course.
I think the most thing that I was terrified of was being possessed by the devil, because I saw The Exorcist way too young, way too young, to the point where it traumatized me. I really thought, I was like, okay, how much do I need to pray to make sure, if I believe, what if I don't believe for a second? Can the devil get in my head? I had all these questions that like a 5-year-old shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And then when Damien came out, The Omen,
yeah.
Then I was convinced I was the son of the devil. So I was always checking for 666 on my head. I'd be, ooh, there's a bump here.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know why I was so petrified of the devil. Now I'm a devil worshiper. I've gone the other way. I hail Satan. And no, but you know what I mean? It's like being Catholic. You find your fears where you find them. And I think I was prone to finding fears as a child and being afraid.
Sure.
Because it was a fear and anger are ways of processing grief or depression.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do that kind of stuff as a child, your stuff is going to come out in weird ways. And
right. The more you can control the fear and how you're scared, it's easier then to deal with the stuff that you can't control.
Yeah.
Like your dad dying.
Sure.
And stuff that, you can't control death. It's just how it is.
Well, then it goes to the other way, when you're very aware of death at a young age and you get older, then you kind of go the other way. So it's like, well, then I'll, I did all these extreme things to see if I would survive,
would live.
Just stupid things, and finally you get a balance of just living, and trying not to do anything stupid. Too stupid, I guess.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about some spooky stories.
Hoopa! Hoopa!
Oh, Quint's after me again. Hey, this is Hooper from Jaws, and I just want to say when we're out on the boat going after the Caucasian Carcasus or whatever it's called, we're always listening to our favorite show, the Gen X Files, now on Spotify.
Hoopa!
Oh, go on.
New episodes every Friday. All celebrity voices are poorly impersonated. You lived on... Your grandma lived
on
Elm
So
Street.
this was the crazy thing. My grandmother growing up, the house my mom grew up in, she lived on Elm Street, on a dead end, right up against a cemetery.
Yeah, and there was these kids always jump roping in front of it.
They had the fence. It was just chain link fence between the cemetery and their backyard, and they actually had a step ladder that went over it, so you could literally just walk right into the cemetery. My grandfather, he volunteered and took care of the cemetery. Like during Memorial Day, he'd go plant flags and all this stuff. He was a good man.
Really, he didn't make furniture out of body parts.
Not that I know of. But
why did you do the quotes when he was a good man?
It was funny because I would mention this every time growing up. I would mention this to my friends, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, how did you do it? How did you do it?" I'm like, "It's not. It's just coincidence."
Were you there before the movie?
I mean, I had to have been.
Yeah. So it wasn't like,
But I distinctly remember the moment when I realized it was Elm Street. I'd been there 20 times, and I was like, oh my God, what? The whole time? Yeah.
I just had a nightmare.
Yeah.
A nightmare on Elm Street. Did you ever do that?
No.
Grandmama, Grandpapa, I've had a nightmare. I've had a nightmare on Elm Street. Make me some cocoa.
Cocoa? Yeah.
That's how you say it.
Yes,
to
in
your
Iowa,
grandmama
that's how you say things.
And your grandpapa.
Very interesting accents in Iowa. I didn't, usually when I was there, my mom has 7 brothers and sisters, so it was a big family. And so usually if we were there was going to be 40 of us in the house.
Was there 7 brads or 7 brothers?
There weren't 7 brothers, but yes. There were 8 of them total, Jim.
Was 8 enough?
Apparently they thought so. Because they stopped after that.
It was a TV show. 8 is enough.
Wow, thank you for pointing that out.
Well, you seem to just dance over it.
Yeah, it was a bad pun.
Yeah, I just wanted to bury it.
I generally
put a stake in and say 8 is enough, baby.
To ignore your bad jokes.
Hey, Willie Ames. 8 is enough, baby.
Was Willie Ames? I thought he was on Charles in Charge.
Actors can be on more than one show.
No. What was his name on Charles in Charge? He had a really bad name.
Buddy.
It was Buddy?
It was Buddy.
Oh, I thought it was something else. Maybe it was his last name. Anyway.
It was Buddy Boinger.
Boinger. I didn't really have any ghost type stuff. It was never my house, I think it was pretty new. My parents, I lived in the same house for 35 years. Or my parents did. So it wasn't an old house. It wasn't haunted as far as I know. But I did have one incident where you could ride your bikes. It was a little bit further than you probably should have, but you would go to the 4 Mile Creek.
4 Mile Creek.
4 Mile Creek. Flooded every year, but during the summers, it would get really low, and you could go underneath the bridge. And there was one time I was with my friends, and we went underneath, and there was right underneath, nestled right against the underneath of the bridge, was a mattress, and on top of that mattress was a white T-shirt filled with sticks that looked like it was like a torso, and a giant knife jammed into it. So far that it was actually jammed into the mattress as well.
Nice. Was it a nice knife?
It reminded me of a Rambo knife. It was one of those big, had the serrated things.
Why didn't you take it? Did you take the knife?
Yeah, because I'm not going to touch this weird ritualistic thing. I think my 2 friends were like, oh my God. One of them was super freaked out. I was just like, okay, that's good. And we left it and took off. But it was
weird.
It was a little too real. I was like, okay, this is odd.
Was this around Halloween or?
No, it was in the summer. Because if it was Halloween, it would have been frozen over. But yeah, it was super weird, and I don't know. I mean, I never talked about it after that, not until
Blair
later.
Witch.
And it was just weird. And
that is weird. Somebody did that. I would have taken the knife.
There was a lot of meth back in the day, so I mean, it might have been.
Well, that could have been a art project, and then somebody's, it's probably somebody on meth. A couple, right? And then one guy's all he's all methed up. He's like, "All right, honey, this is you. Okay, this is you. And I'm stabbing you." And she's like, "How dare you stab me? You get rid of that right now. You throw that under the bridge." And he drags her.
I think that's what was most disturbing about it, is that it seemed very deliberate.
Yeah.
And it was just okay, I don't know. I don't think it was intended for us. I don't think it was just very weird.
Yeah. No, that is very strange.
Unsettling.
Yeah, because it's not something that you normally see.
I did have a friend in college in Iowa City where I went to school. They lived inside of a converted World War II factory. It was it was weird. It was an assembly plant or something.
Interesting.
But they turned it into into houses and like apartments, and they had boxes move. One guy, the guy that lived in the basement, woke up and a dude was just standing over him.
Oh, wow.
And said a couple words and then walked away. And he was able.
He sure wasn't a real dude.
I don't know. He's like, it might have been. But I don't think it was, because he could theoretically go straight outside from the guy's room, but like. He was like, I chased him down. I couldn't find him. So like, because he woke up from a nap. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. He woke up from a nap and he was just like, what the fuck? And then but they would hear boxes like pulled out of closets they had put away, and they would be out in the hallway and be drug around and stuff.
Yeah, I saw when I was dealing with my situation, because I was the only one that really saw anything. I would have cabinets, all the cabinets in the kitchen open.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I had put some towels away, and I felt the whoosh. Yeah. And I turned around, and the doors are open, the closet doors are open.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's like that kind of stuff. And I think I said this before, because even though I experience this kind of stuff, I don't really believe in the supernatural. I don't believe in ghosts or whatever. But I do believe in energy.
Yeah, same.
And I think that, because if you really want to hear the story, go back and listen to the.
Yeah, good.
I'm not going to retell the whole thing, but spoiler alert: my sister and I Scooby-Dooed the whole thing and found out that there was an Italian family that had burned to death in the turn of the century on the property that my dad built. Wow. My stepdad built the house, so that explained everything that was going on, because I was seeing fire and smelling fire. And blah 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 blah. So my thought was that, because when people die in a very sudden and traumatic way, there's probably some psychic imprint or some sort of stain.
Yeah, some energy
stain or something
that we don't understand.
Yeah, because it's just so intense.
Yeah,
and I think some people, just like a radio frequency or something of that matter. I think some people are attuned to that frequency, and maybe. Some of these psychics can attune into this energy that, from these kids getting killed or whatever. Who knows what it is? Yeah, I'm not 100% skeptic saying nothing, because I know who knows, man. Anything could be real, and nothing could be real. Yeah. But I tend to be more sciencey, and I guess that's more of a comforting explanation for me.
I don't remember who said it, but somebody said magic is science we just don't understand yet. And I believe that supernatural is kind of that way. I think eventually this stuff will be able to be explained through science, and we'll be able to understand energy.
But so much of it is BS.
Yeah.
So it kind of taints
con artists that can take advantage of it.
Well, yes, because it's a very being a psychic, you have to be very intuitive. You have to be able to read people. You have to pick up on things. Yeah. So it's a talent, and here's the thing. Yeah. Whether it's religion or psychics or psychiatrists, whatever your poison is, whatever helps you get through what you need to get through, do it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not judging.
Exactly.
You know?
I'm very sensitive to other people's energy. Like, it's not like in I can tell when you're sad and all that. But whenever we played hide and seek growing up, I always knew when they were near me. Like, even if I couldn't see them, I knew they were there.
You're like a little Stephen King boy.
It's like a frequency would change. Like, I could hear it, and it was very weird. But like,
you're that creepy little chocolate kid.
I think I'm sensitive to electromagnetic energy. The creepy chocolate boy.
I know where you are, Cynthia. You're behind the hutch. And you, Jeffrey. I see you there in the closet. I smell you, McDonald Jones.
It didn't work. If I was seeking, it didn't work. It was only if I was hiding.
Oh.
So and they would come near.
So it was pointless power.
It 100% was, which is why I'm not a psychic.
Or a championship hide and seek player.
No, I am not. But I agree with the energy thing, because like we both worked at Zombie Joe's Underground. We've talked about before, and there's definitely some energy there. A lot of very dramatic things happen there, and there was one time where I think I'd mentioned this during the Ghostbusters episode, that I saw a face up in the window, and it was literally looking up and looking down, but every time
it was me.
Every time I walked through, it always felt like somebody's walking behind me.
It was always weird to be. as a director, you would be the first one there, and you would have to turn on all the lights.
Yeah.
And the way you would have to do it is you would have to walk all the way through a darkened lobby and theater.
Dark
to get,
black box theater,
to get to
which
the
is
thing.
very dark.
And it was, I'm not a very, like I said, I don't get scared or creeped easily, but I got a little creeped, man. It was creepy. There was another time, my old writing partner, Darren, wonderful man.
Amazing man.
He was writing this story in college about this theater in Boston where it was a club, like a speakeasy back in the day.
Okay.
And there was a fire and like 50 people burned to death. And then they built a movie theater, on the thing. And so it was, he worked there, and the line was it was haunted, and you would hear people running, and you would hear shoofly doofly and all this stuff. And so we, he got permission for us to spend the night there.
Ooh.
Well, he was going to do it. He's like, "You want to come?" I was like, "F yeah, man! Sleep in a haunted theater? Yeah!" So we get there, and it was creepy. Like, I don't think anything really happened, or I don't remember if we.
Right.
I want to say that we heard like thundering footsteps of people trying to, but I don't think that happened. But I do remember we were pretty high.
Yeah.
And on life. No, but we were, and we'd be like, okay, go. It was a big theater too. It was like, go walk all the way down around the front of the theater and all the way back, which sounds like a really easy thing to do.
Sure.
But it was completely black, and it had these two red lights at the end where the exits were that looked like eyes.
Nice.
And so the deeper you got in, and granted, we were a little mind altered.
Not sober.
But, man, the closer you got to the screen, the creepier it got. Creepier it got to the point where once you did the circle, man, you were sprinting back because I love that. I love that fear. I wish I could. I don't really feel that anymore. I haven't been to I worked at this place that was supposed to be haunted. I didn't see anything or feel anything. And but so I don't get that as much. But man, I just loved that's the same thing with the Bigfoot and everything.
Yeah.
It's like you give yourselves these scenarios, because life can get boring. So you have these cool little adventures that aren't real, but they feel real.
Right. Well, of course. That was always the same. Walking through Zombie Joe's, having to after turn the lights out. You got to turn the lights out. You got to walk all the way to the back through the dark theater. Halfway through, you're good, and then it's like, nope, gonna quicken my pace. It's just, I got to the point where I was just leaving the back door open so the light would come in because
or coming through the back.
Yeah. It was but it was dark. It was just all about the dark.
It was very, very
dark
because it was a black theater, so it wasn't just dark. It was pitch black because the floor was painted black.
Yeah.
Walls were painted black. The curtains black. Everything's black because it's a black box theater.
Yeah, you can't see your hand in front of your face. But we had other actors and stuff had talked about seeing things and all that.
Because actors are very dramatic and they need attention.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe any of it. I mean,
especially theater actors.
I mean, yeah. Growing up on my street was super weird, and because it was so long and we were on a hill, the bottom of the hill it was like there was 3 sections of the street, and the bottom of the hill we literally never went to, and because it got super weird and kind of woodsy and but the end of the street, there was a guy that lived down there and had so much tragedy befall this guy. I felt so bad for him, but somebody broke into his house. I had to have been less than 10, but somebody broke into his house and shot and killed his wife.
Good Lord.
The one of the bullets went through their picture window, and that hole in that picture window was there forever. I was like, why didn't you clean that up? And eventually he got remarried, and then one of his kids got hit by a car and died.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was bad energy on that street.
This wasn't Elm Street, though.
No, this was not. This was 41st Court or something.
Nightmares on 44th Court.
Yeah, it was 40. I don't even remember where I grew up. Wow.
Nightmares where Adam couldn't remember where he grew up.
We did have another guy. He had the biggest house on the block and was cleaning his gutters. And due to his own devising, he was cleaning the gutters out and fell off his ladder and fell into like an inch of mud and drowned.
Ugh.
Because he was using the hose to get all the gutters.
Big house, big problems, baby.
Yeah, it was sad.
That's sad too, because that guy had a whole life.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened, but he's always going to be remembered as the dude that drowned in an inch of water.
Yeah.
After falling off of cleaning his gutters.
But there was one day
The indignity.
waking up for school and looking outside and seeing this woman running up the street and a guy with a giant knife just walking behind her. And I was like, my mom calls 911, and the first thing they said was, yeah, we've gotten a few calls about this already. It was like, then why is nobody here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was
Was he wearing a hockey mask, or was he wearing a James T. Kirk mask?
No, it was actually a burlap sack with one eye cut out. Yeah,
classic
yeah.
Jason. Nice.
But he was naked otherwise. It was very weird.
Ugh.
Yeah. So we talked about having other horror movies that we didn't get to cover, like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I mean, which we will definitely cover
at some point.
But there were so many just like bizarre. Remember, I don't know if you ever saw The Night of the Lupus, Captain Kirk.
About the rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's giant rabbits all around. We have to
When
get.
did that come out? Was that
Rid of the
early
rabbits.
70s?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This was back when William Shatner would do anything. He was doing Corman movies. He did like Big Bad Mama. He did
Nice.
like people are like, oh, Star Trek, woo! Star Trek really didn't take off again until to the reruns in
Next Generation.
Yeah.
no. Well, yes.
The original one got popular again, and they did the movies and stuff, which led into the next generation. You know, the popularity grew, but Star Trek, when it ran, wasn't a very successful series. It only ran for 3 seasons, and it kind of petered out, and the actors just kind of were like, okay.
Right.
And so Shatner would do anything. So he'd always show up in these like low budget horror movies. Night of the Lupus, I just remember him in like a little RV or something, and they had these slowed down rabbits. You know, they just undercrank the camera and they're jumping. Just cute little rabbits, just jumping and eating people. Or, this is one my sister and I loved, was Frogs. Do you remember Frogs?
No.
Oh, man. Such a good movie. It was basically an ecological film. Ecological. And it was about something happened with the frogs, and then just the explosion of this frog population, and the frogs just started eating people. Oh, check out. We got to watch Frogs, man.
We're going to have to do like a weird animal horror movie.
Yeah, because there's them with the ants.
Them was great with the ants.
You know, the giant ants, the nuclear created giant ants. I love giant stuff, man.
The creature features, yeah.
Yeah, but I loved when you made I don't know why, but anything big, man. That was my jam. Like I told you, the hat from Lidsville.
Yeah.
These giant rabbits, giant ants, giant whatever, man. Giant pants.
Put the ants in the pants.
Put them giant ants in them giant pants. But yeah, I just love giant stuff. When I went to this is such a weird tangent, but when I went to Universal for the first time, they don't have this stuff anymore, but they had this little plaza with giant stuff, like a giant rotary telephone that worked.
Oh wow, really?
Could, tick, 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 tick,
oh wow,
and like a giant pencil and giant stuff that you could play with and climb on.
Yeah.
And I was in heaven. I was just like, this is it. I guess I just wanted to be shrunk.
Yeah. You just wanted to be small.
So I could disappear, Adam.
You were just too big.
I just wanted to disappear.
Well, I wanted to hide behind masks, and you wanted to be a tiny person.
I wanted to be tiny.
I think that says a lot about both of us.
Well, no, because I always thought, man, it'd be so cool to be tiny and eat a real-sized piece of pizza. Or a cheeseburger.
How would you be able to eat the whole thing?
Oh, you couldn't, but you could.
But you would try.
It would be. That's the thing I loved on those tinies when they did the tiny stuff, and then they would be like, "Here's a piece of pizza," and then these tiny people would be like chewing on this giant piece. I don't know. It just seems fun, man. I want to swim around in a pie while I eat it. I don't know.
That seems so
unsanitary.
So
what? I don't care.
It's me. I'm just eating myself.
Exactly, man. I'll take a shower beforehand.
Is your favorite movie ever Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
No, I hate that movie. No, I'm just kidding. It's a good movie. I like that movie, but I don't. I like The Incredible Shrinking Woman better.
Oh yeah,
because that's more my speed. That was such a great movie.
You know who wrote that?
Who?
Richard Matheson.
Oh, damn it! I thought we would get one show. It's competing between Stephen King and
I think
Richard
he
Matheson.
did. I think he did do that. He did do that.
Well, he did The Incredible Shrinking Man, right?
Yeah.
Very, very loose adaptation.
Well, of course.
Starring the wonderful Lily Tomlin.
No, she was fantastic.
She is fantastic.
I run into her brunch once in a while. I mean, not a long time, but literally she lives somewhere near us because I would run into her a lot.
But yeah, I mean, she shrank. It was the whole backyard thing, I think. With
Yeah.
You know, I'm more of an urban shrinker.
Yeah.
I want to deal with like city shrinks. I don't want to deal with ants and
you don't want to deal with
the
big blades of grass.
Nah, that's stupid. I want to be in the house where I can like munch on a giant donut or.
I can agree. I think it's a fascinating
idea.
idea.
You watch TV and it's this 3,000-foot screen. You know.
What's the Hulu show with the aliens that have the wall of tiny people?
Solar Opposites.
Solar Opposites, my absolute favorite storyline is the little tiny people on the wall.
Yeah, I like how they fashion items out of small things.
It's because it's like, that's a pencil.
Yes, exactly. So now you see my glee for tiny things.
When I got into college, I got into really screwed up horror movies. Like Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever want to see something that makes no sense but is terrifying, watch the short called Misbegotten. It has one of the single most freaky scenes I've ever seen. It's essentially about a person eating God.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's in black and white.
Kinky.
It's super messed up. I went to a very experimental film school, so I got introduced to a lot of very odd horror stuff. And they can't really find them anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, like Basket Case. That's another.
Oh, Basket Case is so good.
It's like we were talking throughout. I think a word that was used throughout most of the shows is unsettling.
Yeah,
and that's that to me, because scary is scary, and sometimes you can be scared.
Yeah,
but that unsettling feeling and Basket Case is just gross.
Yeah.
But I love it. I mean, but it's that again that gross, low budget. Goopy movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It totally embraced the fact that it was low budget, and it made it work. And to the point, man, I love those movies. And the director, I don't remember his name, but he would shoot stuff so quickly that every single Basket Case movie, you can see him in a reflection somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like Hitchcock.
He's just like, whatever, here we go.
But there was the Poughkeepsie tapes. That's another one.
Oh, that's
really
a great
good.
one.
Yeah.
Those are for actually guys I went to college with.
Yeah.
Or they graduated right before I did. But
that was kind of a found footage.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And biggest crime against humanity in the horror world is that it was never allowed to be released in the theaters because it was the perfect setup to be in the theater. The ending was so good. You know, anyway, it was a
Check it out if you have a chance. I think it's on Hulu or something.
It's on something now, but it was too real, quote unquote, too real. And so people were like, I can't do it.
Well, I think there's a reason why so many horror movies are banned and so many groups come out against them and devilry and the devil because they make people feel uncomfortable because they're dealing with subjects, murder, rape, dismemberment, revenge.
Growing up, my dad was a wood carver, and we would go to the Covered Bridge Festival in Winterset, Iowa. It's where John Wayne's from. But
that's a pretty special place there, Adam.
But they had like a town square. It was like your typical like small town square. And there was one video store, and my dad would be selling his stuff. And so I go wander away, and that video store had a whole section of banned VHS movies.
Ooh.
And it was always the best time of the year because I would find titles that I'd be like, I'm going to go find this.
Yeah.
Like Silent Night, Deadly Night, which apparently was banned in 47 countries.
Yeah.
And
it's so, then they're all so quaint.
Yeah,
There's nothing really like, you watch them now and you're like, what? Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is great, and it's super scary still, and it's super gross.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's no swearing really. There's no nudity. There's really not that much blood.
But it is so unsettling.
So gross.
So unsettling.
So gross. Such a good job.
What was a moment in a horror movie that scared you the most?
That's a good question. Because there's a lot of, I don't remember the first time I saw Friday the 13th.
Okay.
I remember the first time I saw Halloween because it was on a friend's cable. Because you remember HBO used to every month come with like this little brochure that would have all the movies and the little, because there was like 12 movies on HBO a month, and then they would tell you all about the movies. And I remember like, I'm going to watch Halloween in my friend's house, and it was I'm so scared. The funny thing is the two moments in film that freak me out the most aren't Halloween movies or scary movies.
Oh, yeah.
They were, I think I mentioned them before. It was Deliverance.
Yeah.
So way too young.
Yeah.
And
That's also a very unsettling movie.
100%. Yeah. Even without the whole rape scene.
It's just
the whole dread
whole tone
of
it is so unsettling.
Great movie. Such a great movie. But that scene, because I didn't really know what rape was or that it was possible for a man to do it to another man, and my stepdad's matter-of-fact and succinct explanation of it did nothing to allay my fears. But that moment, and then there's a castration moment in this movie called The Valachi Papers, where again...
Really?
Yeah, it was like...
That's right.
It was
you
vague.
talked about
and
that,
it was again with the old man, and I was like, well, what did they do? And he's like, cut off his balls. And I'm like, well, they can do that? And that was the same thing. We were watching Deliverance. And I'm like, well, what's going on? What's he doing? Because, it's squeal like a piggy. It's like, are they wrestling or whatever? He's like, he's raping him. I'm like, what? They can do that? He's like, yeah, watch out. It's just like, okay, and then that's that. That's all we ever said about it. It wasn't like, okay, now it's a movie and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
The biggest thing they would ever say was like, it's just make-believe,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well. But yeah, I think I do remember Nightmare on Elm Street really, freaked me out. It freaked me out.
Yeah. It's a whole thing of you're just not safe anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I can't remember a moment or something from a horror movie that stands out.
Mine, and it's a more recent being the last 20 years, but The Ring. And it was the moment at the very beginning when they pull open that closet door and the girl turns her head a little bit. She's dead, but she turns her head. Dude, I did not sleep for 2 days. It was, I don't know why, but that just burned in my brain. And it was the movement. It was the oh God. And it was, the makeup was done so well. It was so good.
Well, that's the fun thing about these movies is there's always something that's going to scare somebody that's, I didn't think about that until you mentioned it. And I was like, oh yeah, that is super scary.
It just, and I mean, it probably didn't help that I literally, was sleeping right against one of those sliding closet doors.
It had a corpse in it.
Yeah.
Strangely enough.
Granted, I had put it there, but I get scared every time I open it.
Exactly.
I forgot.
You better be dead. Poking it in the eye with a stick just to make sure.
I don't want it to turn its head again.
Could just be gases being released.
Yeah. It was good. Now, granted, I mean, the movie's fine, but before that, for me, Wizard of Oz was by far. The witch just scared the bejesus out of me.
Well, that's the thing too. When you're a little kid, there's always going to be something that you glom to that's just so. Because I think it's a coping mechanism that childhood's scary, but if we find something to glom our fear onto, then. I'm afraid of that car. If we,
he's afraid he's going to be late.
Exactly. If you mush all your fear into something, then you're not that fearful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the control fear. It's. I mean, I think this is why horror movies are so popular because because once that movie's done, the scare is over, the fear is over.
I think biggest fear as a child is being embarrassed.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly, very young. I loved to swim. Swim. Lived in the water. Pisces, baby. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, well, why don't we join a swim team or something after school, whatever. I was really young. I was 2. No, I was probably 6 or 7. And I get up there and the guy's like, do a butterfly or do free. He's like, do something. And I didn't know what it was. So I freaked out.
Oh,
and
really?
I went into the bathroom and I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm not coming out. I'm not. My mom's like, well, it's just do whatever. It's a freestyle. You can do.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, now I've made a scene.
Yeah.
So there's no way I'm going back because I'm double embarrassed.
Right.
Because of that. And I think that's where the fear was for me.
No,
Mostly
same.
Was just shame, I guess.
That was one of the reasons that I eventually left the Catholic school was because I really, in 3rd and 4th grade, I really wanted to play the drums. I just wanted to play the drums so bad. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And I remember going into this room with this teacher, and I was like, I want to play the drums. And she goes, okay. She did some rhythm stuff, looked me dead in the eye, and was like, you're never going to play drums. I was 7.
That's so
or
mean.
8 or 10 or whatever. I don't know. But it was young enough that I just freaked out. And I was like, and then I left because the Catholic school was terrible.
Yeah,
but
and he never played the drums again. The prophecy
literally
was true.
I never played any music. I have never
You hate
did.
music.
I do. I hate it so much. This is why we're doing a podcast now, Jim.
As revenge on music.
All right, well, we're out of time, so we need to go. Every time.
You gotta not do this on Tuesdays. Hold on. Hold on to your thought. Hold on to your thought. Hold on to your thought. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Battlestar Galactica, already in progress.